I believe Oakwood has won the toss-up. Very good. Here are your first 4 categories. Antoine, you will choose between Alexander Hamilton, copyright law, a gifted woman, and biblical bondage.
Alexander Hamilton.
And here's your face-off. State, Treasury, Education. Hamilton was the first secretary of which cabinet department? Alabama State? Byron.
Treasury.
Treasury is correct. Here is your bonus. For 10 points apiece, here's part 1. In the 1790s, Hamilton was the leading figure of what early political party?
Federalist.
Very good. Part 2. Hamilton's support of an excise tax on an alcoholic beverage led to what 1794 rebellion?
Whiskey.
All 20 points, you control the board.
Biblical bondage.
Biblical bondage. Very near Michelangelo's statue of Moses, you can see chains said to have bound whom? The rock of the church. Oakwood, Antoine.
Peter.
Peter is correct. Here is your bonus. For 10 points apiece, here's part 1. Peter had spent 9 months as prisoner in Mamertine prison near what city's forum?
Athens.
No, Rome is what we were looking for. Now part 2. Peter was later imprisoned by what king of Judea, also known as Agrippa I?
Caesar.
Herod is what we were looking for, but you do control the board.
Copyright.
Copyright law. Face-off, equations, inventions, paintings, slogans, which can be copyrighted in the U.S. Oakwood, Antoine.
Inventions.
No, can you take it, Byron?
Slogans.
Paintings is what we were looking for. Antoine.
Copyright.
Copyright. This is your face-off. Immediately, 8 years, 25 years. A U.S. literary copyright takes effect how soon after a book is finished? Antoine.
8 years.
No, Alabama.
Immediately.
Very good. This is your bonus. Here's part 1 of 2. U.S. law no longer requires such a work to carry a little circle with what letter inside?
C.
That's good. Here's part 2. That mark still recommended was made unnecessary by the 1989 Copyright Convention in what Swiss B city?
Bern.
All 20 points and control of the board.
Biblical bondage, please.
Biblical bondage. This is the face-off. Which son of Rachel was sold by his brothers for 20 pieces of silver to a passing caravan? Alabama State. Byron.
Joseph.
Yes, that's correct. This is your bonus. Part 1. His brothers put goat's blood on what garment to support their claim that Joseph had been killed?
Was it a robe? Yeah, I think it was.
Robe.
That's very good. We'll accept that. Part 2. Joseph later rose to power in Egypt and jailed his brothers, offering freedom if they'd bring him what youngest brother?
Benjamin.
All 20 points and control of the board.
Biblical bondage.
Biblical bondage. The Assyrians took captive the 10 Hebrew tribes of the northern kingdom of what formerly united land? Antoine.
Israel.
Very good. This is your bonus. Part 1. The southern kingdom of Judah was later taken into captivity by what empire that supplanted Assyria?
Babylon.
That's correct. Part 2. Which Babylonian king captured Jerusalem?
Say it.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Very good for all 20 points and control.
Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton, this is your face-off. In his mid-20s, Hamilton commanded a battalion in what 1781 battle that ended the Revolutionary War? Antoine.
Yorktown.
Very good. This is your bonus. Part 1. Hamilton was born not in the colonies, but on what island now paired with St. Kitts?
Nevis.
Very good. Here's part 2. He supported Toussaint Louverture's revolt in what current West Indies island nation?
Haiti.
Very good for all 20.
Alexander.
Alexander. Hamilton split his party in 1800 by opposing the re-election of what Federalist president? Antoine.
John Adams.
Very good. This is your bonus. Hamilton supported which South Carolina candidate in 1800 after supporting his brother in 1796?
Calhoun.
No, we were looking for Charles Pinckney. Part 2. He eventually supported his rival Jefferson that year
Burr.
at the expense of which notorious New Yorker?
Burr. Copyright.
Got 10 points? Copyright. Here's your face-off. By law, 2 copies of any substantial copyrighted work must be deposited in what U.S. library? Antoine.
National Library of the Archives.
No, Brian.
Library of Congress.
Library of Congress is correct. Here's your bonus, 5 points apiece and a 5-point bonus for all 3. ASCAP is the American Society licensing rights to non-dramatic musical works. What 3 plural nouns form the cap in ASCAP?
Artists will likely be the A. Composers, artists, and painters.
Composers, artists, and painters.
Composers for 5. Authors and publishers is what we were looking for. End of the round. Give yourselves a big hand. Our score is currently Alabama 105, Oakwood 90. That's a good, tight score, everybody. Very good. We're moving on to the second round. Okay, moving on to the second round. Kanisha, because you're behind, you get to choose between Words Between Us, Flags of the World, Novel Wives, From Quantum to Cosmos. And your choice is?
Novel Wives.
Novel Wives. Here's your first face-off. What wife of Menelaus, abducted by the Trojans, had the face that launched 1,000 ships? Kanisha.
Helen of Troy.
Very good. This is your bonus for 10 points apiece. First, Guinevere was the wife of what legendary English king?
Arthur.
Yes, part 2. Okonkwo's second and third wives are Ekwefi and Ojiugu, as things fall apart by what recently deceased Nigerian?
Akebe.
That's
Wives.
good for all 20 points. What's your
Wives.
Novel Wives? Hawthorne tells of the shame of what young wife sent ahead to America by Chillingworth, her aged husband?
Time.
Hester Prynne is what we're looking for. Kanisha.
Wives.
Novel Wives. We need her microphone checked. Mrs. Bennet, whose only goal is to see her 5 daughters married, often repels their suitors in what Jane Austen work?
Geneva.
Geneva, thank you.
Is that right? Pride and Prejudice?
Pride and Prejudice is correct. For 5 points apiece and a 5-point bonus for all 3. Married 5 times, she's known as just as the wife of what town in what Geoffrey Chaucer classic?
Bath, Canterbury Tales.
You got it. Part 2. Which title? Mrs. is a widowed field mouse helping the rats of Nim.
Brown.
Miss Frisbee, so you got 10 of those points. You get to choose the category.
Words Between Us.
Words Between Us. Dr. Mark Okrand devised what language spoken by Lieutenant Worf and Chancellor Gorkin as part of a sci-fi franchise? Kanisha.
Klingon.
Klingon is correct.
Respect.
This is your bonus for 5 points apiece and a 5-point bonus for all 3. Part 1. James Cameron used what created language for what 2009 film?
Navi.
Avatar.
Correct. Next part. Navi is the native language of what moon, the setting of Avatar?
Pandora.
You got all 20 points, control of the board.
Words Between Us.
Words Between Us. In 1887, L.L. Zamenhof constructed what artificial language he intended as the second international language? Kanisha.
Esperanto.
Very good. This is your bonus. First for 20, then for 10. It's an official language of Senegal, Switzerland, and Canada.
French.
Very good for all 20 points. You get to choose.
Flags of the World.
Flags of the world. Here's your face-off. What nation's flag has 37 more stars on it now than when it first adopted 237 years ago? Kanisha.
United States.
United States is correct. First part. What nation's flag has Britain's Union Jack plus white stars on a blue field forming the Southern Cross?
Australia.
Very good. Here's your second part. What African nation's red, white, and blue flag is known as the Lone Star?
South Africa.
Liberia. You got 10 of those points, but you get to choose.
Flags of the World.
Flags of the world. This is the face-off. A spear and shield might save you from what mythical beast on Bhutan's flag, otherwise called St. George?
Geneva.
Geneva.
Dragon.
I'm gonna get it. Dragon. For 10 points apiece, this is the first part. A red dragon on a field of green and white forms the flag of which part of the UK west of England?
Wales.
Wales is correct. Part 2. What large Indian Ocean island country has a lion carrying a sword on its flag?
Sri Lanka.
For all 20 points. Geneva, you get to choose.
Words Between Us.
Words Between Us. What native language of a Pacific state has the shortest alphabet? Just 12 letters.
Time.
Hawaiian is what we were looking for. Geneva.
Flags of the World.
Flags of the world. A 3-tiered tiara adorns the flag of what nation inside Rome? Geneva.
Vatican City.
Vatican City is correct. This is your first part of 2. Turn Hungary's red, white, and green striped flag on its side, and you have the flag of what nearby nation?
Italy.
Very good. Part 2. Turn Netherlands' red, white, and blue striped flag on its side and make the flag of what nearby nation?
France.
All 20 points. End of round 2. Still close. Alabama State, 185. Oakwood, 200. Everybody go, because I know you're holding your breath. All right. So now, Alabama State, you get to choose in this third round. I believe, Vincent, you will choose between I've Got to Be Me, African American Memorials, Body of Knowledge, and How Taxing. Which one do you choose?
Body of knowledge.
Body of Knowledge. This is your first face-off. What P word is the medical name for the throat extending down to the larynx? James.
Pharynx.
Pharynx is correct. For 5 points apiece and a 5-point bonus for all three. First, what part of the upper respiratory tract runs from the larynx down to the second bronchi?
Trachea.
Very good. Now, part 2. What butterfly-shaped gland and what lymphoid gland are located along the trachea?
Thyroid.
Very good.
Body, please.
Body of knowledge. You got all 20 points there. And we need a face-off. And he's chosen body of knowledge.
That was only 10 points on that bonus, just to be sure everyone knows.
Thank you.
We'll go back to it.
Body of knowledge. In the human body, what fiber carries impulses away from a nerve cell? James.
Axon.
Axon is correct. For 10 points apiece, part 1. The axon of many neurons is insulated by what sheath made of 80% lipid and 20% protein?
Myelin.
Very good. Part 2. One of the primary lipids of myelin is what steroid present in plasma? Your answer, please. Cholesterol is correct. You got all of that. Where are we going?
Body of knowledge.
Body of knowledge. What hereditary disorder causes an increased tendency to bleed from even the slightest injury? Vincent.
Hemophilia.
That's correct. This is your bonus. Part 1. Which 19th century British queen carried the hemophilia gene?
Victoria.
Very good. Part 2. A royal who suffered the effects of the disease was the son of what last Tsar of Russia?
Nicholas II.
You got all 20 points. You get to choose.
Okay, how taxing?
How taxing? Here's your face-off. Residents pay no state sales or income taxes and share the annual profits from North Slope Oil in what state? James.
Alaska.
Alaska is correct. For 10 points apiece, part 1.
Louisiana.
In what state are
Parishes.
property taxes assessed in a few districts and 64 parishes?
Louisiana.
Very good. Part 2. What state has unusually low taxes on a pack of cigarettes? Perhaps because it's the home state of R.J. Reynolds.
I feel like it should be
North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe. Okay, North Carolina.
North Carolina is correct for all 20. Now go back and choose a face-off.
taxing, please.
How taxing? The recent debated minimum 30% tax on the wealthy was named for what billionaire philanthropist? Vincent.
Buffett.
Warren Buffett is correct. Here's your bonus. Part 1. That tax was supported by what wealthy Hungarian with a palindromic last name, a recent $1 million donor to the NAACP?
The same name. If you flip it backwards, it should make the same name. I don't know.
Walker.
Soros is George Soros is what we were looking for. Part 2, which 2012 candidate was paying about a 15% tax rate while worth hundreds of millions?
Romney.
Mitt Romney is correct. You got 10 points now. Pick your category.
How taxing?
How taxing? What software companies' brands include QuickBooks for business and TurboTax for personal tax filing? Vincent.
HR Block.
No. James, can you take it?
Charles Schwab.
Intuit is what we were looking for. Vincent, pick your next category.
African American Memorial.
African American Memorials. This is a face-off. A plaque honoring what black scientist and surveyor is at 18th and Van Buren Streets in Arlington County, Virginia? Vincent.
Washington.
No. James, can you take it?
Still.
Benjamin Banneker is what we were
Banneker.
looking for. Pick your next category, Vincent.
African American Memorial.
Memorials, African American memorials. The statue Soul in Flight outside the U.S. Tennis Center in New York honors what great athlete? James.
Ash.
Arthur Ashe is correct. Here's your bonus. In a park named for him, New York has a monument to what black astronaut killed in the Challenger disaster?
McNair.
That's correct. Part 2. New York honors what great writer with a bronze rectangle with an empty cutout figure of a man?
Pulitzer.
Your answer?
Dubois.
Ralph Ellison is what we were looking for. You did get 10 points. You now have control at 235 for Alabama State, 305 for Oakwood at the end of the round. Okay, we've got that corrected. We're going into our ultimate challenge round. Now, teams, you may interrupt me during this, but I need to hear it clearly, or I may say wrong and keep on going. So, Alabama State, in this ultimate challenge, you will choose between U.S. Chief Justices, we are the champions, of tree icing, I'll try the dim sum.
We are the champions.
We are the champions, and here we go. Maybe.
Hold on, please.
Hold on. All right. Now, here we are. We are the champions. What university not its letter abbreviation, won the 2012 Conference Football Championship for the SEC?
University of Alabama.
Yes. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference?
Bethune-Cookman.
Yes. The Pac-12?
Oregon.
No. The ACC?
Georgia Tech.
No. The Mid-American Conference?
Pass.
Pass. The Big East?
Syracuse.
No. The Southwestern Athletic Conference?
Jackson State.
No. The Sun Belt Conference?
Pass.
Pass. The Big 12?
Texas.
No. The Big 10?
Ohio State.
No. The Pac-12?
Stanford.
Yes. The ACC?
Virginia.
No. The Mid-American Conference?
Pass.
Pass. The Big East?
Connecticut.
No. The Southwestern Athletic Conference?
Pass.
Pass. The Sun Belt Conference?
Pass.
Pass. The Big 12?
Baylor.
No. The Big 10?
Pass.
Pass. The ACC? Okay, you got 75 of those points. We're going to review the ACC. I would have loved for it to have been Virginia. That was my university. Does anybody know? Florida State. The Mid-American Conference. Northern Illinois University. The Big East. Louisville, there you go. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Pine Bluff, I heard it. The Sun Belt Conference. Arkansas State. The Big 12. Kansas State. The Big 10. University of Wisconsin. Why don't we give Alabama State a big hand?
Really well. Proud of y'all.
Hey, now the scholars from Oakwood will choose between U.S. Chief Justices of Tree I Sing. I'll try the dim sum.
Dim sum, please.
Dim sum. What word spelled with D-I-M is a chin's indentation?
Dimple.
Yes. A light switch rheostat?
Pass.
Pass. To become smaller?
Diminish.
Yes. Ketchup and mustard, for example?
Condiments.
Very good. Having two distinct forms?
Pass.
Pass. A two-syllable slang word for
Dimwit.
yes. In the earliest stages of development?
Pass.
Pass. Material settled to the bottom?
What do they call that? Sediment.
Yeah.
Yes. An object's geometric measure?
Pass.
Pass. A hindrance or obstruction?
Impediment.
Very good. A light switch rheostat?
Dimmer.
Yes. Having two distinct forms?
Pass.
In the earliest stages of development?
Dentard.
Pass.
Pass. An object's geometric measure?
What do they call that? Dimensions.
Very good. You snuck that one in there. So we have two that we're going to figure out. Anybody having two distinct forms? Dimorphic.
Dimorphic.
See,
Yeah.
The earliest stages of development. Rudimentary. Rudiment.
Okay.
But you got 500 points total at the end of the game. Oakwood 500, Alabama State 310.
You're killing the history now.